This is an incredible church with a rich history and tradition. It all started back in 1893, where there's a group of believers who decided they wanted to reach their community. The problem was they didn't have anywhere to meet. So this group of believers decided to travel to North Carolina and borrow a tent, come back here, set it up, and they held a tent revival. As a result of that tent revival, this church was formed. As the church grew and families joined, they decided it was time for a new facility. In 1939, they built this sanctuary I'm presently sitting in. A church member by the name of J.B. Childs traveled back and forth to Georgia with his pickup truck numerous times to pick up 12 and 15-pound stones that are presently on the outside of this building. The first services were held here in 1940. In 1974, an addition was needed to continue the ministry of this church. The current annual budget was $50,000. The addition was going to cost $250,000. The church decided to take that risk. It was a 20-year note that they ended up paying off in 15 years. Once again, in 1996, this body felt God calling them to expand their facilities, and they built the fellowship hall and children's rooms next door. Another financial step of faith, and they paid that building off in less than 7 years. In the spring of 2004, First Wesleyan Church began to sense God calling them to something new. And so they met in this very room, and they had a unanimous decision that God was calling them to reach into their community in a way they never had before. God was reshaping and renewing their vision for something new. So over the last 6 years, First Wesleyan Church and Now Alive have rallied around one single goal. Our mission here, our goal, is to reach spiritually hungry people and do two things. We want to introduce them to a personal relationship with Jesus and an active role in Christian community. So the question becomes, who are these spiritually hungry people and how can we reach them? These questions led FWC Alive to a God-sized vision. There are 120,000 people living in Pickens County, not including the 3 college campuses. Statistically, we know that 80% of the people in the upstate of South Carolina classify themselves as being unchurched. This means that out of 120,000 people living in Pickens County, there are 96,000 men, women, and children who are not attending church or interacting in a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. At FWC Alive, we are combining our efforts with other churches, focusing all our energy and resources on one goal, that is to reach this group of 96,000 spiritually hungry people and provide multiple opportunities for them to see and experience the transforming gospel of Jesus Christ. FWC Alive continues to experience incredible growth. In 2009, we were averaging 550 in morning worship attendance. In the past 3 months, that average attendance has increased by more than 200 people. Our children and our youth programs have increased over 100% in the number of people who attend. Our membership has doubled since 1999. As God blessed FWC Alive with people, it became obvious that we were outgrowing the space we had. From the first day our live service began almost 7 years ago, it has been meeting in rented space. Our Sunday school classes meet in rented space. If you've been in our church building on a Wednesday night, you know there isn't room because we are packed full all over the place with people. This new building that will be on this ground allows us the opportunity to expand our ministries. Ministries like the Growing Place, which is our child care center. Our children will have their own worship space. Our youth will have their own room as well. We will have new worship venues that will not require us to set up and tear down on every Sunday. We'll have a lobby that's going to be large enough for our body to spend time talking and fellowshipping before and after service. The most important thing, though, is this new facility will be more than just a building. This will be a tool that will maximize our impact and our God-given goal to reach 96,000 people. In consideration of these changes and others, the local Board of Administration felt it imperative that we pursue building a new campus on Chastain Road, where I'm standing right now, for the ministries of FWC Alive. The new plan before us will provide the following things. It'll provide one location for our church and a stronger, united identity as we stand on top of this hill. It'll provide greater visibility in our community. It'll provide a worship venue for Alive and a worship venue for our traditional worship service. Increased space for children, increased space for youth, increased office space, and increased space for the Growing Place, our child enrichment center. In 2008, our church purchased 39 acres of land on Chastain Road as the future site of FWC Alive. God's providence made this land available to us, and we give praise to the Lord that this land is 100% debt-free. We've been able to leverage our current facility that we presently meet in for $1 million to add to our building fund. To make this vision possible, it will require a combined effort. If we are able to undertake building within the year, we estimate the cost of our project to be around $4 million. Due to the generosity and the fact that we've been able to leverage our current facility, we have $1.3 million already in hand. It is our hope through the 96,000 Reasons campaign to raise an additional $1.5 million in pledges before we begin building. The company we're working with is called Building God's Way, and it also provides an opportunity for people in our congregation and community to donate different kinds of labors and specialized skills or materials that we might have access to, which will cut our building material and labor costs. This is truly going to be a community building effort. FWC Alive, our story, is one of a group of believers desiring to follow God and inviting others to follow Him with us. Our story is one of God faithfully leading His children. Our story is one of people making tremendous sacrifice to build the kingdom. We are not the first to be called to some kind of God-sized vision and step out on faith. We are just one amongst many. It is a challenge for me to think and to imagine what kind of spiritually significant moments will happen in this new facility, not just for our time, but for the time of generations to come. To think of the people who will be coming to know Jesus in this facility, who are presently out there in our community waiting to be reached. To think about those who will pray to receive Jesus in one of the worship areas of this facility is simply an overwhelming thought. Will a teenager be mentored somewhere in a small group that meets in one of these rooms? Will a child or grandchild come to Jesus at a Wednesday night Hip Town event? Or maybe will one of your neighbors that's on your list of 96,000 reasons join the body of Christ at this facility that we're getting ready to build? Find a place to serve that really makes them come alive. Will the person who's battling an addiction of some sort or some kind of pain finally find freedom through a ministry of this church in the years to come? As FWC Alive grows on its new campus, can you imagine what kind of incredible things we're going to do around the world? How will we change our community? How will the 96,000 people in Pickens County be impacted by this moment to this time as we join together with prayers and sacrificial giving and build a campus here that will build His kingdom? I want to invite you. This is our time. This is our honor. This is our privilege to throw in our 2 cents to help write the story for this time as it continues to be written for generations to come.